Well, hello everybody and welcome back to Shutters and Speed. I'll tell you something, we've got a real recipe for you today. So, without further ado, as they say down in Norfolk, we'll run them their titles, boy, and get into it. Yeah, so welcome back to Shutters and Speed. Well, the recipe is this beautiful motorcycle we have in front of us here, and the another aspect or ingredient in that recipe is Rick, who's on my right here, or left, sorry, who's the owner of this wonderful machine we have in front of us. And the other elements we have is that we're in front of the Red Lion here at Revesby, a place that I've visited many times before, and have come here on a ride out and had some breakfast. And then that set me up for a great day's riding. So I would thoroughly recommend that if you want to indulge in a day's riding here in the Lincolnshire Wolds. What a perfect starting point this is. And as we sort of go out onto the main road and to my right and then right again, we're into a section of road known locally as the Revesby Bends, which I have covered in a previous video. And if you like, I'll put a link into that up here somewhere for you to have a look at should you wish to. So without further ado, let's talk a bit more about the motorcycle in front of us. And what we have here is a BSA Goldstar, but not the old one. We've got the modern version from about last Tuesday, I think, Rick.
Yeah.
So you know, Rick's the owner of this machine. He's also one of my subscribers, and who I met at a local bike meet. And he sort of made himself known to me, made it known that he got this machine, and I was extremely interested in it, so here we are. So Rick, how did you sort of come about buying this, and what was the decision-making process?
Well, I've fancied a BSA for a long time. When I first got into motorcycles, BSA had already gone out of production. So I could never buy a new BSA up until 2 years ago.
Right.
And last year, before Christmas, they were giving such good discounts on new bikes that I couldn't turn it down. And I went over to Freedom Motorcycles in March, and they was very helpful there, and put a deposit down, and they delivered it next week.
Well, that's brilliant. So, and what are the things that have impressed you most about it? I mean, I know when we looked at it before, the modern instruments are quite something, aren't they? You know, it sort of blends the modern with the traditional.
It does, yeah. I mean, it is really. I think the design team have done a fantastic job. They've made it look as near as possible as the original.
Yeah.
The clocks sweep. They start at number 1, 1 o'clock, and come round instead of starting at the bottom and going up. Same as they did originally. Where the ammeter used to be is near your sort of digital display, but it still looks like an ammeter. Everything is it really is a lovely bike.
Yeah. I mean, the build quality. I mean, looking around it. I mean, I know we had a look at it when I met you for the first time, but the build quality of it is just really nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And like I said, the engine, it sounds good, and what's not to like, really, especially at the price.
The engines are Rotax engines.
Really? I
mean, they're Rotax made aircraft engines.
Yeah.
So and they've made it look like an old style air-cooled engine. It's a water-cooled engine. It's a twin spark. It's about 44 horsepower.
Right. Okay.
It's pretty talky. Yeah. So really, I mean, we've all had the fast bikes.
Yes.
This does everything I really need it to do.
Well, I have to say, I was out for a ride out this way. It must be a year or so ago, and I was coming down the road from Caister to Horncastle, and I passed somebody on one of these, and I thought, I was going along at a fair old rate, but he was just trundling along at 40, 50 miles an hour, having a whale of a time.
Yeah, exactly.
And I thought, well, isn't that the way to go?
Yeah, that's right.
So, any plans for it?
No, I've made a few minor upgrades. I've put a tail tidy on because the original one was a bit low.
Right.
I think I'll probably change the shocks to the Girling shocks, just the shrouded ones to make it a little bit more original. But this is not running yet.
No.
So it's I haven't changed much. My daughter bought me a nice little little clock for the dash, just to make it look. And that was it looks similar to the rest of the clocks.
Yeah.
But no, other than that, just keep it and enjoy it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously that's one thing. And what about I know the other thing we mentioned was, although it looks traditional, and we've already spoken about the clocks and so forth. But there's even USB ports on here, I understand.
Yep, you've got USB A and C in there.
Yeah.
A lot of people will tucking this underneath, so you've still got it and it's not shown, so still keep it. And down below is a 12 volt, normal 12 volt cigarette lighter charger.
Wow.
All for an original.
Yeah, so you can connect your sat nav, your phone, and everything up to it, like you would any modern bike.
It's quite a good package for. I mean, you can buy a brand new one for £5,000.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's an absolute steal, really. It really is. It really is. Well, thank you very much for showing us around then, Rick. And I suppose the next question we've got to find out is take it out for a spin and see how she rides. And as ever, before we take this beautiful machine out for a spin, let's have a good look around it in detail. So here we are out on the mighty BSA Goldstar. And what do you think then, Shutters? Well, it is a brilliant ride, I must say. It's just the sort of thing you need for a situation like this. A beautiful Lincolnshire country road, and a beautiful crisp late March, late afternoon, and you've got lovely roads in front of you. I mean, you can just cruise along and take in the views. I mean, what is not to like? I mean, it gets along superbly well. Now, many viewers will remember my video regarding the CCM Spitfire, and that was very similar in many ways. Single cylinder, sort of fairly low powered, but this one is a lot different to that in many ways. It's just so relaxing to ride. The CCM was engaging to ride, I always felt, but this is just unbelievably good. It goes into bends nicely, as you can see. Perfect, absolutely perfect. And we've got a few of these coming up in the next few miles. So, what is not to like? Just down a cog, look round the corner, and in we go. Fantastic. The engine is so full of torque at just about anywhere in the rev range, and it just hums along. I'm sorry if I'm waxing lyrical about this, but I really can't find anything wrong at the moment. I mean, the brakes, obviously, with old classics, can leave a little bit to be desired, but this, the front brake is sharp, the rear brake is also not bad, and you just arrive at a corner with just such a degree of confidence. And we've got a beautiful bit of road here. Just take it down a cog, maybe another one, and in we go. Look at this, look, isn't that fantastic? In we go. Wow. Pulls away from the corner without any hesitation or problem. Great stuff. Now, I have ridden this road quite a few times on my Yamaha, and although it may not be quite as sharp and as focused as what the Yamaha is, but it's not meant to be. It's meant to be a pleasant cruising ride around the Lincolnshire countryside. And you know, this is just fantastic. And you can go around the corners in such a way that you're just taking in the views the whole time. I mean, I know you shouldn't be, because you know, you just go into a corner like this and you should be concentrating. But the thing just seems to know that a corner is coming up, and when you get there, it just goes round. Look at this, look. It's just brilliant. The suspension. Now then, Rick did mention in the introduction there that he had changed the shocks, and they feel just perfect. They really do. They're not too hard, not too soft, and they give you a superb, comfortable ride that is, you know, just fantastic. It really is. Here we go again. Fantastic. Well, mustn't go too far. Rick is still running this in, so I've got to be a bit careful with the revs. He said try and keep below 3,500, because it is still brand spanking new. But oh wow, this is something else. The instruments are nice and clear, and I do like this little clock that Rick has added here. I believe he said his daughter had bought it for him to have on there, and that just completes the look, really. You know, wow. And I'm just sitting here looking around, taking in the views, and another corner approaches. Yeah, so you know, the CCM, which is the only comparison I've got at the moment, is a little bit more focused than this, I would say, and it's a bit more. It's a bit of a job to say, really. But this one is just the sort of thing you need for a Sunday cruise along roads just like this. And you know, for the money, I mean, we'll go, if we haven't done already, we'll go into the finances of the thing a little bit later in the video to see exactly what the costs are. But you know, this is just sublime. It really is. I have to say, you know, I have to be very thankful to Rick for allowing me to take this out for a spin along these roads. You know, these people are very happy to allow me to have a ride, and I just absolutely love it. It just tracks so beautifully. I mean, what is not to like? I mean, you're not going along at silly speeds. You're not going to put your license in any danger or jeopardy. But you know, you're just out enjoying the views. And we're now sort of in the heart of the Revesby estate. And as you can see on my right here, they've got these metal fences. And it's very reminiscent, this area, of the Sandringham estate near where I live. It seems immaculately well kept, and is a joy to ride through. So, you know, what a mix. You've got beautiful roads, beautiful scenery, beautiful setting, and a beautiful bike to take it, you know, have a look at it on. I'm getting a bit carried away here. I think the old checkbook could be coming out very soon, because this, you know, if you're into this sort of motorcycling, you know, just cruising around, then this is the motorbike for you, let me tell you. The CCM would come through here probably a little bit more crazily, shall we say. That encourages you to go quickly, take the bends quickly, and is a bit of an animal, a bit of a hooligan. This is not. This is a gentleman's cruiser, and you know, the difference is really quite stark from what is a very similar, probably power output and engine size. You know, and I just love it. I really do. We're coming to the end of this particular section of road, and I think the only thing we can do now is to turn round and do that section of road all over again. Fantastic. It really is. I'll tell you what, I think I'm going to have to revise my my riding apparel slightly, because I don't think this helmet is entirely suitable or in any way, you know, the sort of thing that you'd use on a bike like this. But that doesn't really matter, because it's been a fantastic ride. It really has. So I'm just going to turn around here when I get the opportunity and go back and enjoy that stretch of road all over again. As we are cruising along the beautiful bit of road here between Horncastle and Revesby, let's head on back to the studio where we can take a look at the finer details of the bike and how much it costs to buy in all the guises and so forth. So join me in the studio. Here we are in the studio and we're having a look at the BSA Goldstar website. We've got all the options here and the prices. There seems to be a Goldstar and a Legacy edition. The Legacy edition I think may be the one that Rick owns, and it is actually $5,999 on the road, but I think it has a few extra bits and bobs. But if we go back to the original, which is $5,500 or $5,499 on the road, you do have a choice of different colours, and if we flick through them here on the website, it gives you a good indication of how the machine will look in the different guises, as it were, which is obviously great. And then if we scroll down here, we can have a look at the specification of the beast. I'm not going to read all these out, but obviously that this information is available to you. But I think the headlines are that it's a liquid-cooled single-cylinder double overhead cam 4-valve twin spark plug single-cylinder engine. It is of a 650cc or thereabouts capacity, and it puts out 55 newton meters of torque at 4,000 rpm, and it puts out 45 brake horsepower at 6,500 rpm. It has a 5-speed gearbox and it is liquid cooled. And it also has a single 320mm disc on the front, brakes this is, and a single 255mm disc on the back. It weighs 213 kilos and the total fuel tank capacity is 12 litres. And it also has a 100 by 90 by 18 Pirelli Phantom Sports Comp tyre on the front and a 150/70/17 Pirelli Phantom Sports Comp tyre on the back. So that's the sort of headlines, if you like. And I have to say, while I'm here, the tyres, they take me back to my days in the early 80s on my Honda CB900, which I also fitted with Pirelli Phantom tyres, so that's quite nostalgic for me as well. But anyway, there are the headlines, and you get a brief idea of how much it costs and all the specs and so forth. So let's get back on the road and enjoy the rest of the ride. And so here we are again, taking a series of bends on the beautiful BSA Goldstar from last Tuesday. I mean, we've probably looked at what it costs by now, and I think anybody who has one of these is going to have hours and hours of fun just trundling through these beautiful roads. Look at this, look, it's just, you just go straight in, no problem at all, and it's wonderful. It pulls out of bends nicely. Woo, we're overcooking the revs a bit there, but and what a place to be. The funny thing is, everything seems a little bit doom and gloom at the moment with the world as it is, wars here, there and everywhere, and financial problems here, there and everywhere. But when you're out on a bike like this, on a road like this, in a setting like this, all those worries that you may or may not have just go away. You just don't care, and you just enjoy the ride for what it is. And isn't that amazing? Just pulls from pretty much any gear. I'm trying not to make the engine labour too much, because obviously it's still very new. I don't know whether it's had its first service yet or not, but it probably isn't that far away. But this are there any negatives? I can't think of any. This is really something else. He's obviously enjoying himself. He's on something a bit more license threatening, let me tell you, especially the way he was hammering along. But why the hell not? Why the hell not? Just look around the corner. We're probably a bit, there, it's better. There we go. That, oh, it pulls out of there fantastically well. Yep, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Well, I think we're sort of coming to the end of this beautiful stretch of road, and I've had a beautiful 20 minutes, half an hour riding this thing through a brilliant set of bends, and you know, it's been an absolute pleasure, it really has. And all that remains for me to say is thank you, Rick, so much for allowing me to have a go on it, and let's get it back to its lucky owner. Well, I'm not sure I wanted this to end, if I'm honest. I could probably go out and ride this for another hour without any problem at all, but as we said earlier, we've got to get it back to its lucky owner. And Rick, thank you so much for allowing me to have a final go on one of these beautiful machines. Well, Rick, what a ride that was. I have to say, that was a revelation. I mean, how much do you say it was? 5 grand?
5 grand.
I mean, that is 5 grand's worth of fun. It really is, you know. I'm surprised. Well, I can't believe it. I mean, I think we should all have one.
Exactly.
Well, I really do. They are just tremendous fun to ride.
Yeah.
You know, you can just go through the countryside, take in the views.
Exactly.
And you know, what's not to like? Everything about it is modern in terms of, you know, brakes, handling.
Exactly.
And yet you've got that lovely traditional look and that lovely traditional sound, which is fantastic.
That's right. That's what
You
I
know,
like about
I
it.
have to say, I have thoroughly enjoyed that. So thank you so much.
No, my pleasure.
For allowing me to have a ride on it, and I might have to go and you know, raid the old piggy bank. So I hope that you know, you've enjoyed what we've produced for you so far. I'd like to thank Rick for allowing me to have a go on this beautiful machine, and I'd like to thank you for watching. And if you've enjoyed this video, I would hope that you would take the trouble to like and subscribe. But in the meantime, I think we'll call a halt to proceedings here and now. So without further ado, it's goodbye from Rick.
Bye.
And it's a goodbye from me, and we'll see you in the next video. So, as we say down there in Norfolk, until next time, do you keep on a troshin', boy.